Hi guys, welcome to Challenge the Road. It's going to be a bit of a rant today. It hasn't been a good day, we'll go through that, but also I've got an update on my conditional offer of a fixed penalty, which I want to go through with you, but also I've got some numbers here that I don't think you're going to believe on the number of speeding offences in the UK. I'm not sure where to start because I love doing the car videos. But these videos just make me think that Britain is in the worst position it's ever been in. And today we were broken in again at the lakes. I don't know whether to do a video on that, on the amount of crime that's out there. Then I've had to go through all the speeding stuff. Oh, God, and that doesn't look good. And it's when you see the number of offences, and it's only going to get worse with all the stuff we're doing on AI. So I'm probably going to come across like I'm grumpy, but, well, I am, because a lot of stuff going on. And I'll go through this first, and then we'll go through all the speeding offences that are happening and how high it is and how it's increased massively. So this is my conditional offer of a fixed penalty. So if we go back, I've done 2 speed awareness courses because I was doing a 33 and a 30 and a 34 and a 30, and I got through them. Then I got another one for, I think it was 35 in a 30, so I got 3 points, and I have to remember everything top of my head. Then I come back, once that one come through, I got another one, so I was doing 79 in a 70 on a dual carriageway. The offence may be dealt with by way of fixed penalty of £100 and the endorsement of 3 penalty points on your licence. So it's less than we thought. I thought it was going to be 6 points because it is 9 miles an hour over the limit, which was a 70. And yeah, obviously I'm going to take them points. That takes me to 6 points. Now, I was thinking about this and thinking about Britain in general. I'm not going to call it Great Britain. I don't think we're great anymore. For me, when I go out on the roads, I think the roads are terrible. Now, I'd rather they said on here, this offence may be dealt with a higher fine, but we'll repair some potholes. Because for me, I'd rather pay more and not affect my insurance, which will now go up. And my insurance costs at the moment are high. Let's just say last year it was 40,000, so it's quite a lot for insurance, with 0 points. So now I've got more points coming on. Why not do that? Why not offer me the chance to just not have the points which affect my insurance? So just what I call logical thinking, which in Britain we have 0 of at the moment. You see, I'm going to get really annoyed now, aren't I? We have 0 of at the moment across everything. And this is what's coming to light with these break-ins I've had. I mean, I've been going through some stuff for Land Rover owners and stolen cars. And the numbers are so bad on that side, I'm not even sure to do the video because I wasn't sure anyone would believe it. So I've held off doing that. This is how distracted I'm getting. So everything I'm researching is making me think that, where are we living now? What are we doing? It's just crazy. So anyway, I'm going to accept that penalty of £100 and 3 points and still drive on a load of crappy roads. Right, let's get on to speeding offences. Right, this is good, this one. This is good. This is a report by Fleet News. Speeding offences at all-time high and phone fines up by a third. So headline numbers. 2.7 million motoring offences in 2023. Now, I haven't got 2024 yet, so that is an increase on here of 11%. So we're up from 2.4 million to 2.7 million. Where the data gets interesting is if we look back in time and we go back 10 years, 2013, there were 1.6 million. So we've got a gain of 700,000 speeding offences in 10 years. Then AI cameras weren't in then. So 2024 numbers haven't come out, and these AI cameras are going to catch a lot of stuff. I'll go through the sort of the figures here. So we've got 2.7 million motoring offences, excluding data from the Metropolitan Police Service recorded in 2023. So that's excluding that. An increase of 11% on the previous year, 2.4 million, and the highest recorded since comparable records began in 2011. So the first records of 2011, and that was 1.4 million at the time. More than 4/5, 86%, of recorded motoring offences were for speeding. 2.3 million were for speeding, up 10% on the previous year of 2.1, and the highest recorded since 2011. Between 2011 and 2023, the number of speeding limit offences increased at a faster rate than the amount of traffic in Great Britain. So the traffic increase is not as high as the speeding offences because everything's getting more clever. And also the cars have got a lot quicker. And I still find it difficult out there in that X5. It's so smooth, it's so good. And I watched Jeff by Car's video on people getting, I think, a mobility allowance for cars. And they're able to get an electric car which is quicker. Actually, it was just slightly, it's 3.4 to 60. The McLaren F1 of the time, which is still, I think, the fastest car in the world, 250 mile an hour top speed. I think it's just been beaten by Bugatti, if we're going to be 100% correct. We were looking at 3.2 for the McLaren F1, 3.4 for the mobility clients to get an electric car. So the cars are too fast. So what's the point in having a car that does 0 to 60 in 3.4? It's crazy. Since 2011, the noteworthy year-on-year decline in speeding offences was in 2020, likely due to the pandemic. Well, of course it was the pandemic. That's not likely, is it? It's stupid. Anyway, so I mustn't get angry. Last year, 868,000 cases, 32%, resulted in the driver receiving an endorsement fixed penalty. So 32% of people being caught are getting a fine, like this. While 107 cases, 4%, resulted in non-endorsement fees, and the individual attended a driver retraining course in... Oh, actually, no. So let's read this again. An individual attended a driver retraining course in 1.37 million cases. So 51% attended a course. That is a huge amount of people coming out of work. 1.37 million driver retraining courses. Unbelievable. 351,000 cases resulted in court action, 13%. So 13% of people went to court. It's a lot of court action, isn't it? 351 cases. Let's go to the next bit. Half of driving offences resulted in driver retraining, while a fine was paid in a further 36% of cases, and 13% of cases involved court action, similar to 2022. Offences involving the use of handheld mobile phones, and this is getting worse, while driving were up 9,000 to 33% to 36,000 fines. That is going to get a lot higher. Now, there is something about the phones I want to talk about, and I know the phones aren't good and holding them or whatever, but I find it just as bad with my X5 trying to go because everything with the Apple CarPlay is over there, and I do find it distracts me. And I know the mobile phone would, but the stereos and that, I still have the same things with their internal hi-fis. Let's have a look here. We're incredibly concerned that drivers using handheld mobile phones behind the wheel has risen by a third. But I do think that's the camera tech as well. And more people having phones and iPhones, and it's obviously all touchscreen. So, and also the phones are doing too much. I mean, I find on the Apple CarPlay, it says, Richard, you got a WhatsApp, you got this, you got that, I think there needs to become some sort of ruling that says you can't give us that data sometimes because it's too intrusive to the driving. If you're going to make cars like an office, which they are, then you have to accept that your level of attention is going to go down. I was thinking then there was a car I was driving. What was I driving the other day? Anyway, I was out in Porsche 997. I only just put the radio on. I was so focused on driving. It was a manual gearbox, very cool car, but I could really feel the steering. I had to concentrate and I had to drive. And I thought this is the first time for a while where I thought I'd never want to look at my messages or phone or distract myself by touching something over here, because I couldn't. Maybe that's because we're all automatic now and we're all, cocooned in these lovely cosy cars. While this shows that officers are rightly targeting the events, drivers are still far too tempted to play with their phones while driving. At the same time, cases of careless driving have risen by 18% and speeding fines are at an all-time high. Drivers need to know that forces are applying the law and bad behaviour will be caught either in person or on camera. And these cameras are really going to get us. And I'm not saying that's for the bad. I just feel like I don't know how intrusive these cameras will be long term. We've done the videos on that. I put a link to that on AI. But obviously, it's going to be tricky. And the speed limits we have now are, from 50 years ago, and the cars, everything's moved on so much. I don't see the point in us having a car that goes over, say, 80 mile an hour. It should just all be limited to 80 mile an hour. Done. That's it. And I think that's where we'd be anyway. I think there's a new law coming out that's 112 mile an hour. And I spoke to someone about 112 mile an hour, and they said that's because at 112 mile an hour, that's the speed that they think that modern cars can crash and you could still be okay. If you go above that, but I don't know if that's true. Someone may know more than me. While cameras and new technology have played an important role to play in road safety, these stats clearly show that we need more cops in cars to police the roads. Well, no shit on that, is it? I mean, I don't even see police. I know that's going to be another video, but where are the police? Anyway, here we go. Yesterday, the Prime Minister said he would hire 13,000 new officers and PCSOs and special constables. At least 1,000 should become traffic officers to help improve road safety and stop poor driving in the act before something tragic happens. Now we go on to drink driving. So roadside breath test increase. Shows a slight increase in the number of roadside breath tests carried out by police. In 2023, there were 276,000 tests in England and Wales, up 3%. The data shows that around 1 in 6 of breath tests were positive. That is so... Does anyone else think that's really high? 1 in 6 were positive or refuse, down slightly from 17%. So it's come down 1%, but 1 in 6 still looks high to me. This is an interesting stat here. This is just on one of the things. It says 300 people killed by drink drivers in 2022. I don't know the figures in 2023. 17% of drivers failed breath test. This is a big figure. I mean, 1 death is enough, but this is quite big. 6,800 people injured or killed in drink drive accidents. So, there's a lot of long-term injuries from this. And I do, appreciate we need to get that down. And maybe the AI cameras are going to really help with that. Whilst we are pleased to note the increase, testing is significantly lower than it should be. 15 years ago, 647,000 breath tests were concluded. But despite the relatively low number of tests, it's still a shocking fact that nearly 45,000 motorists were found over the legal limit or refused to have a sample. So very high. We went through, obviously, casualties, which that's a good thing with AI, and that we want to get drink driving down. And the government has spent £1 million on drink driving campaigns. There's other bits on here that doesn't overly talk about speeding offences. So I don't know what you think, but I feel like the roads and everything are so bad that if you're taking in so much money now, there has to be some options. And I would prefer an option to say, okay, the points are going to affect me and they're going to make my insurance go up. Fine. But £100, is that for someone like myself, I'd say I'd rather pay more, knock the 3 points, and help with the roads. And then I'm putting my money into helping the country. Now, I know you might say, well, Richard, that's getting round stuff and different things, but maybe you just do it once or whatever. But I feel like we need some flexibility. Now, you wouldn't be doing that if we had a road network that was sustainable, but at the moment it's not sustainable. I mean, if I took pictures out there of the roads and that, just horrendous. I mean, I've done 4 tyres. So, I mean, I've spent £1,000 in tyres. So I'm spending £100 on a fine. If the roads were good, I wouldn't have so many tyres. I'd rather put the money into the roads. So anyway, but you might think I'm wrong. You might say, Richard, you're just having a bad day, which I am. But that's how I feel about it. So what do you think about the record number of fines? I just wondered if there's a year where it's ever gone down. No. So there's no year that speeding offences has gone down apart from the pandemic, obviously, because we wasn't driving. So yeah, so they're the numbers. So 2.7 million motoring offences in 2023. As soon as I get 2024 figures, I will do another video. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Yeah, I've got more coming soon. I mean, the theft stuff is just beggars belief, if I'm honest. And I think when I do the video, hopefully I'll be able to do it this weekend. It's just, and that's then going to lead to what I'm seeing with all these break-ins we're getting and whether people are actually being prosecuted at all. It's going through my mind, but I know that's a different subject. I know that's not what Challenge the Road is, but we've all got to be real. All these things affect everyone, and it's just deeply frustrating.